let's go to the boards and see what I did and how I don't like that staging. So here's our main shot here. Here's the shot that I don't like, which is the reaction of the parents right here. So what I end up doing for myself to help me understand is I'm going to draw a wide shot just to figure out where everybody is in relation to the parents. This may not be my shot, but it's just helping me understand the geography. So if I just go to a down shot, here's my bar. Here's Mr. Peabody. Here is, I believe that's Sherman. That's Penny. And here is the parents. And then here is the window. I'm doing my down shot because this is a great way of understanding. Here's my floor. Here's my windows right here. This is my floor plan. And how did I shoot that shot of Penny and Paul? Camera's right here, shooting them, right? So by going to the overhead, this is a great way of playing around with our staging. So I can bring the camera over here if I want and figure out how to shoot that. And by doing something like this, then I'm including the kids. And but the question is, who else do I want to have in this shot? Are the kids important or is Mr. Peabody the important one? Well, I don't know. I want to look back at the boards and to remind myself of the story point. So we have, and I went to a black hole. Oh, so they react to hearing her saying that they ran out of gas and then in Florence, and then we went into a black hole. So if they're reacting to hearing their daughter saying, I went into a black hole, then I want to have, ideally, the kids in the foreground because they're reacting to hearing their daughter saying they went into a black hole. How is that going to look, everybody? I don't know. I haven't drawn it yet, but I have to see it in my head. I know that the camera needs to be low because the kids are where? Let's do this instead. Let's also do this. Here's my bar. Here's my floor. I always do the ubiquitous grid. It always helps. I'm holding the shift key to keep nice straight lines. And here's the top of the bar, bottles of booze, blah, 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 blah. Here's Mr. Peabody right here making drinks. He has a bigger head. Here are the kids. So we have Sherman is somewhere about here. Penny is on this side, I believe, right? She's to the left. And then I'm moving it over a bit to make room for the parents. Here's our window and here are our parents. So we have the dad here holding a drink. I'm not sure which hand. Doesn't matter right now. And the mom's right here. Okay, so now we know where everybody is. This is helping me go from here. I'm above them. I'm hovering like a drone. I'm seeing it for objectively. Now I want to get on the set, drop into it to have a little bit of a better sense. So I'm going to draw a very objective proscenium angle. This is going to help me get my head wrapped around visualizing how to put the camera behind someone's head, like how to draw the head and body and movement. And in this case, I have to get my head wrapped around where I can put the camera to do this. My goal is to connect dad and mom with their daughter when she says black hole. And here's the thing, we can do this as a cheat. This is a very common term. A cheat is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to cheat the shot. Where's my camera going to go? We already know, I want to put the camera somewhere in this area. And now I'm going to start drawing the camera in 3D because I want to be able to capture, this is it, slightly like this. So now we've gone from overhead to here. What is that going to look like? This is going to involve some perspective too. And what I might do is first put the parents, I'm already imagining I'm going to be a little bit low on the shot. I'm imagining the bar is going to be going something like this, in this direction. And I'm not going to worry about nailing my shot right now. I just want to get the general idea done. So if I have that angle, that's implying that my horizon line is beneath the top of the bar. And I can put, if we do our vanishing points, by the way, we're going like this. Horizon line level is about here. That would put Mr. Peabody here in this shot. So here he is right there. And the kids will be here. So I'm going to have Penny somewhere here in a toga. I'm going to actually change her head angle more towards Mr. Peabody. Slight change, but it's ever so slight, but it's noticeable. Toga, I will, just to show a hand, maybe I'll put one hand, her elbow in the anatomy of it. Her head might be ending here somewhere. So this would be the shoulder area here. Put a hand up here just so I can see some acting, and I'll erase that stuff underneath. And then the other Sherman is, and I always go back to my boards, by the way, for continuity. He says, we went to a black hole. So look, the last time in this shot, I had Sherman looking at Penny. So I want to make sure I still have that in this shot. And also, if I really want to maintain my perspective, I want to make sure that I have vanishing points going off in this direction. I also have vanishing points going off in this direction, which means his head on the basketball design, if you do it, that we bisect the sphere on his head, we make it into shapes. I'd actually want to go like this and more like that. Does that make sense? The reason why I did that? Because we're shooting lower. So his nose would be here, and then glasses here, and this orbit would be there, and he's smiling maybe. I haven't drawn these characters in years, so it's not exactly on model, but it's just okay. Being on model, by the way, is not the most important thing, you guys. You got to realize that it's the performances and the ideas that you come up with are far more important than anything else. And I will say that even on like Shrek 2, they would have a piece of paper they gave everybody on 11 by 14 paper, which is the biggest paper you could have. And they were cut out of all the different ways all the artists drew Shrek. And it was given to everybody to let you know that, oh, you can draw him this way or you can draw him that way. And as long as it looked like him, everybody was able. It wasn't about conforming to make him look the same. It was more about the storytelling through the drawings. And I've said this a million times. So I'm back to me not being on model. I've got this staging. Look, I've gone from here. I've gone from the overhead, which is just my bird's eye floor plan to understanding where everybody is, to doing proscenium, flat staging to understand, to get down and you're like, oh, now I'm kind of on the set. And now I'm trying to figure out how it will look. But already in this staging, this is helping me understand when I see it, and I know that I want the parents over here, they're going to be crammed over in this corner too much. So I want to bring everything over here a bit more like that to give myself some room for the parents. And then I think where was Paul? He's on the left, so he'd be here. And does he have a drink? Oh, he has a drink on this hand. So, okay, hands there. And yes, I do basic shapes for bodies. It helps me understand things. I'm not I don't have the Kim Jong-gi ability just to like nail that stuff a lot. Depends on the movies. Like I still can work very tight. So I'm going to put him here. Technically, he should be back behind here somewhere. And now by having this thing, I can layer Sherman here and maybe even fill him in to overlap the shot a bit like this. And then I'll put the mom here also. What does she look like? Okay. So I have the parents here. This is helping me get in this shot. What I don't like about this shot is that it's still not helping me isolate the idea very clearly. And as I said, I really wanted to link these guys with this character. I've got him here. I got him here. I want to challenge myself to see if I can get it more with her. So this is part of the challenge of staging. But I have gone a lot closer from here. That's better. That's much better even. And this would work. But the point is, I want to highlight their reaction against the words that she's saying. And in guiding my audience's eyes to look where I want them to look, I'm giving you guys too many opportunities to look in all around the screen. It's not necessarily weighted towards anyone in particular. I feel like I'm looking at Sherman's expression. I got the parents over here. I want their reaction. It's not really telling the story that I want. So this is the thing that we have to do as visual storytellers. We have to ask ourselves, what's the story point of the shot? The story point is the parents react to hearing Penny say that we got lost in a black hole. I want to see her, and I want to see them looking at their daughter like, what have you been smoking? What is going on here? This shot doesn't do it. It is a lower angle. It's getting me closer, but it's not highlighting that idea. Let's see if I can get in tighter. Everything I'm doing is helping my head get wrapped around what it is that I want to do. So it's not bad what I'm doing. So really ideally is I'm going to draw super big and blocky. Like here's Penny, and I want the parents to be somewhere in here in the shot. That's what I would love to have. Something like this would be great. I have dad here and mom here, and I have Penny here, and Sherman is off over here. That's what I want to do. Something like that. I have to figure out how to stage it. But then this would allow me to have that reaction connecting to their daughter. So I'll go to new layer. Penny's going to be looking this direction here, back of her head here. And then on another layer, I'm really pushing the perspective. This is what I almost want to do. I want to do something where I'm practically on this side of the table, or maybe even more foreshortened. And then I can have her here. I have Sherman here, but then I can put the parents almost there. That's almost too much, but it's getting close. I've got Penny here in this shot. I'm visualizing the table going away like that. I'm going to make it a little lower because they're not that short. Here's the edge. So now I feel like I've created that clearance, and I still feel like she's still too short. Table, I want it to be like that. And that angle may not be exactly right, but I'm going to try it anyway. Now I can add dad right here, underside of the drink, because we're camera's low, and fingers, honestly, they don't wrap around that much on a drink. Usually you kind of see the fingers right here. So now I have a clear connection of dad. I think I want to have him a little higher up in the shot. I'm filling up the negative space here. See, there's a lot of negative space above his head that's not good. I want to frame it and fill out the space. And then I'm going to bring dad down a bit more. And then the mom is right here. That's not really not a very good drawing. If I want to follow the line here, her head would be tilted down, of course. What does she wear? She got it to a regular, like a sweater on. So I'm going to put the shoulder line this direction, like they're facing, not necessarily straight on their other kids. She's crammed over too much. So I'm going to bring them over like that. So now I'm cheating the shot. The only thing I don't really like is the location of the desk. The perspective is going like this. And for the windows behind them, I'll put these lines here to show where the glass ends, and there's frames for the glass. And if I want to help even tell more, I can just do this for the buildings outside the window to help sell the perspective. That's too extreme right there. But by doing buildings in the background like this, now I'm creating a bit more of an understanding of the set. The only thing that can be fixed, that should be fixed, is the height of that. I think it's too much. In other words, it's not following the vanishing point that I have that I can see in my head. I think this probably feels a bit better. It felt too extreme. I can move that over here. The last thing I want to say is that when you're doing these things, you don't have to be dead on perfect in your perspectives. This is actually considered an overlay because it's overlaying the parents. You just want to get it very close. When they get it into the computer, they can nail the cameras and they can figure out how that's going to look. So now I have Penny in the shot. Mr. Peabody would have to be somewhere here. We're seeing underneath his mouth. And then I would put Sherman in here. I'm going to put one other layer for me, which is an onion skin, because I don't want to look at the lines underneath here to compete for my attention. And I want to put Sherman right here. And he was, as we said before, he was looking at her. He's got the toga on. And now I feel like I can get the parents' reaction more clearly. And so now the next thing in this shot, I'll make a copy of this. And let's see if I can add some soft focus in the scene, create a little bit more clarity here. I'm going to first put some tone on her right here. So that draws the eye over here. I always tend to put tone on characters when I'm shooting from the back. It adds a nice silhouette. In this case, we don't have a lot of details from her because we're looking at the back of her head, not the front. But you can add some details to the hair that'll help sell the idea that's the back of her. And then I would take this and I would copy it and I'll make it in soft focus and I'll just merge the layers together and I'll go to filter, Gaussian, boom. And also my focal range, because I'm focusing on the background, even this overlay, which I'll make a copy of, I will take my blur tool here and I'll just blur this edge close to her because it's not in focus either. So now I've got everybody else in the shot. I'm highlighting the parents. I've got Sherman right here, and I can even, if I really wanted to push it, I could get him closer to her because he was closer to her. And by getting him closer to her, I can throw him in a soft focus to keep the eyes off of him also. But not as deep soft focus as her because he's slightly further away from the camera, but he's still not in the focal range. So I'll go to filter, blur, Gaussian, and I'll just bring him down. I was at 3 point something and I'll go down to 2.4. And then by doing that, it keeps these kids in that same relative focal range. I'll blur my background, my overlay a bit more here. And by doing this, I can add a nice reaction of the parents. So we go to this boards again, and we went to in a black hole. Then I can cut to this shot, and I could even have them do a bit of a reaction. So the only thing I'm gonna do is cheat. Now here's the cheating part because I don't like the kids' heads being so high up, Sherman's head being so high up. I want to bring him down a bit in the shot. It is a bit of a cheat. It's not terrible. And I'll bring Penny down to dash and I'll bring the parents up a bit because I want to focus on the parents in the shot. Dad, and where's mom? And so now off of this, I can do, you went to a black hole, and then I can add a reaction. And I'll just say, I'll have the dad react. Create some movement. I'll put transform on. I can pick distort and I'll pull these corners up like that and a little bit on that side. And now I add a movement like that. That's a little broader than I want, but that's fine. And on a new layer, I'll just turn him down. I will add his eyes even bigger, eyebrows up, and I'll paint behind that. And by having him move, it draws the eye to him. And we went into a black hole. So now I'm connecting them with her. And I'm having a shot where I'm including everybody in here, but I'm really putting the focus on the parents here. So that's the whole point of this. What I also could do if I'm still not satisfied with this, I'm making one more copy and I'm going to take everything in this group and I'm going to see, and this is something I honestly do in real life. I'll take all these drawings and I will transform the whole thing in, and I'm going to zoom in on my shot a bit more like that. And what does this do, everybody? I almost like this better because guess what? Now I'm taking Sherman, the focus off of Sherman, and I'm really putting it on mom and dad. So this shot helped me find something that I think is clearer, and I could tell the story of the parents reacting. I'm really putting the focus on the parents and Penny in this shot. He's in soft focus. He's off to the side. Okay. I'm still working things out. This is okay. I have a lot of negative space here, by the way, which I don't like. And so by just taking my same drawing and zooming it in, now I feel like I can get their reactions even better. So let's do that one more time. And I'll even add one for mom. Bring her up a bit. The reason why I'm moving them up, it's sort of like It's like your whole body jumps. It's a good cheat. Transform is a great tool to use to get many character performances. I do it all the time, rather than redrawing it. We should look at our drawings almost like cells in animation. Oftentimes in 2D, you have just the mouth moving. It's called a held cell. Do the same thing for your performances, but you can still shift bodies around. So I'll have mom go up and I'll put dad a little bit in here too. I'll put dad up a bit, but not as dramatically. The reason why I use in Photoshop, I'm sorry, in Transform, there are options. I'm holding the control key down and I'm touching the desktop. I have all these options. I have distort, scale, rotate. They all do something different. If I just did plain transform and I held the shift key, it'll allow me to go vertically up and down. But I just don't ever feel like I have the same control as if I use distort. So I can just pull the corners and get a little bit of movement, just a dash and a little dash on this side. And I'll get their eyes a bit bigger. I'm exaggerating it just so like you guys can see. So we went into a black hole. So now I have them reacting clearly. Their movement is drawing your eye over to them. And by keeping characters in soft focus in the foreground, well, it helps maintain where they are on set, but it also helps if we keep them in soft focus, it also tells us where not to look. So now by doing this, this is helping me isolate the parents. I see them, their eye line is on Penny, and I'm getting their reaction, and we can see everybody on the set more clearly. So this is basically a problem-solving demo. And so this is something I recommend you guys all do. This is what I do all the time to figure it out. This is the process of figuring out how to tell the story with understanding where everybody is on your set. Last time, it starts with your overhead floor plan to get an idea, then drawing the most generic flat shot to say, okay, this is how it would look if I landed my drone and I hovered behind them. And then the next shot is, okay, well, what if I start walking in a little closer to see where they are? And I have these boxes here to remind myself what the story point is. I want to make sure that these guys are connecting with her thing about going to a black hole. Okay, that works great, but there's too many characters here. It's not balanced. It's not guiding the eye. It's not showing the subtlety of their reaction here because it's too unguided. So then I decided, okay, the angle's too severe. Then this is where we landed. Like, okay, this is feeling better. And I did the reaction, but it's still not really helping me see their faces very clearly. So I just zoomed in on the drawing. And by going from here to here, now I really isolate those ideas. All right, we nailed it.